Hi, everybody. My name is Alan York, joined alongside field hockey coach Nikki Parsley Blocker. The Flames 3-0 after a trip out to California this past weekend. And Nikki, congratulations on the win. UC Davis, check mark. Stanford, check mark. Cal, check mark. Your thoughts on how your team played to open up the season?
Yeah, I think we were excited. It just felt like we were where we needed to be. We always say, I don't need the team to be where we need them to be in November and August. But where we need to be this weekend was 3-0, and that's what we're here with. So excited about that.
Going into that trip, a lot of planning, I'm sure, goes into every trip. But what about going, 3 time zones away to California?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of the credit, hats off to Heather Hefner, Alan Good, and Caroline Smith, all of our support staff and assistant coaches. Just the trip that was put together was incredible. I was telling someone earlier, I think from Liberty Champion there, how was it off the field? And we had a super senior and a senior in particular. I'll never forget them coming up and just, tears in their eyes saying this was the most incredible day. We went on a sunset tour of the Golden Gate Bridge on a boat, and it was awesome. And then we went to Ghirardelli, which never hurts. Got a little ice cream afterwards, and it was just special. It was really, really cool. So we are extremely grateful for the trip in its entirety.
Shout out to Will Bones as well for capturing the emotion, the video of the trip out there to California, and the success on the field. You talk about we were right in the right mind frame through that whole weekend. Could you tell that maybe with some of the workouts prior to those 3 games last weekend?
Just in terms of the success,
or just the team is in the right mind frame moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's always hard to tell, right? Like just because you're good on paper it has absolutely, well, nothing to do, but it's no guarantee of anything. And we know that everyone that's involved in sports knows that just because you're good on paper doesn't mean that it's going to pan out. So I just thought there was a lot of adversity. Like the air quality was super bad at UC Davis. Like we had a couple kids that couldn't play because their policy and was that if it's over 150, kids with asthma cannot participate. So it was crazy. It's just perfect though. We really felt like the Lord put on our heart, open hands. That's a theme that we have going into this year. And there was a lot of stuff that you would have had a choice to be really frustrated in your response and like closed fists, or you could have walked into it with open hands. Like, all right, we're going to take this adversity and we're going to find a way through it. And that wasn't a team, not that we were terrible at that, but we knew that was a way that the team needed to grow and they did it. So that was really exciting coming out of California.
Coaches always learn about their teams. Before I even make this comment about, hey, you get better game 2 than you were in game 1. How about you in your coaching career? When during a season have you learned most about your team?
Oh, that's probably hard to answer because every year is so different.
Okay.
But I do you learn about people, not when things are good, but when things are bad and how you respond to the adversity. So I feel like we're learning about the group already and the resiliency that they have. Just because, that's a big thing. When you have a couple players that are like studs for you can't play, that's a big deal. How that individual chose to respond when we literally found out 30 minutes before the start of the game at UC Davis. And I told the one individual, I was like, listen, like how you choose to respond in this moment is how the team's going to go. And how, if she would have responded poorly, I truly think it would have impacted how we played. So I think adversity brings out potentially the best and worst in people. So that's probably what I'd say generally.
Joined by Nikki Parsley Blocker, Liberty Field Hockey 3-0 coming up on the 7th. They'll be playing Northwestern, your alma mater. We'll get to that match in just a minute. But some of the things that you learned about your team over those first 3 games and some of the adversities, despite winning, there's some things you want to improve on. What might be some of those, Nikki?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff that's happening defensively is just not going to fly. It's not going to fly against the Cats. It's not going to fly against the Cardinals. It's just not against a top team going forward. So we know we have some things defensively to clean up in the midfield, which I'm really excited about because I feel like that's a very big strength of our staff is firstly identifying the problem and then putting a roadmap together to figure out how we're going to keep closing that gap per se. And the kids just have a high level of buy-in. So because we have so much lead time going into the Northwestern game, that's a challenge. I'm excited. Like I know that we need to get better, in those areas. Defensively under the 25 as well with some of our marking. We got to be more disciplined down there. So just excited to find ways to, to coach that and for the girls to see how they respond.
There was a great picture posted of you, and I think it was either Cal or Stanford's head coach. Y'all went mountain biking maybe before your match this past weekend. We always hear about fraternities of coaches, regardless of the sport. How close knit are the coaches around the world of field hockey, Nikki?
That was one of the coolest things of my life. Okay, maybe I mean my life. That's very drastic, but like of my coaching career for sure. Shelly coached me. We went to England with the U21 team when I was a sophomore, junior at Northwestern, and she was my coach. I just think like how cool is that anytime I come full circle with someone that's like coached me when I was going through as a player, I just think that that's really cool when I get to then coach against them. And then that step further of being able to go mountain biking with her. My husband went with us as well, and it was something I will not forget. It was very, very special. To be able to do that, like how cool is that? I don't know how many people would go biking. It's not like, oh, credit to me, but just I think to the relationship, that we got to do that before we were going to play, 4 hours later.
Yeah, it does go to show everybody listening, watching, sports, they circle the wagons, and it's so much more bigger than the game a lot of times. That just showed the tightness that we all have with different coaches or broadcasters, in my sake. I mean, it's the same thing for our realm as well. Last final thought here. You mentioned a little time off as you kind of get back adjusted to the East Coast time, and Northwestern, your alma mater, coming up next Tuesday at noon. Just thoughts going up against the Wildcats, and how many times in your career, whether it be assistant or head coach, have you faced them?
0.
Okay, this is cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it more than it is. At the end of the day, it's another field hockey game. There's just an element like Tracy Fuchs has, from a hockey standpoint, had the biggest influence on, my ability as a coach. I would say my dad from a mental side of things, but from a tactical, technical standpoint, that's, to have sat under her as a player is one of the reasons that I'm here today doing what I'm doing. So it will be an honor to get to play against them. I have the most respect for them. I'm a huge Northwestern fan, but not on Tuesday. Not on Tuesday. So I always say I'll root for them anytime except for when they play us, and that's Tuesday. So I'm very excited for it. I think that their ranking is every bit as real as what it says. They are one of the best teams in the country this year, top 5 contender. But I know that we're going to give them a run and be ready to show them what Liberty Field hockey is all about and what it looks like to be relentless. And I think that's going to be huge for us, just going in and playing Liberty Field hockey.
It's 3-0 Liberty against number 4 Northwestern, coming up on Tuesday, September 7th at noon here on campus in Lynchburg. Nikki, appreciate the time. Go Flames, and have a great weekend.
Yep, go Flames. Thanks, Alan.